Happy Thursday to you, especially you people might be enjoying a snow day right now as Chuck and Bob come to you with the social media preview of the basketball weekend. Let's start it off with the girls' regionals, Bob. Saturday will be a big day around the area, and there's two games that I want to focus on because they're both rematches from the regular season. One of them occurs in 4A where Crown Point takes on Penn, a real clash of the Titans here. Crown Point undefeated, 26-0. They got Jessica Carruthers. They've got Dash Shaw. They've got all kinds of talent, and they beat Penn by 12 in the regular season. But this could be a very different-looking Penn team that takes the court on Saturday.
Penn has a couple more players available, one from an injury, one from a transfer that makes them a little bit better. But again, the continuity that Christy Kaneski-Ulrich has going over the years is what makes them so special. They're very, I guess they're not worried about who gets the credit. They're just out there to play. Crown Point, though, I mean, oh my goodness, undefeated. And this is a team that has been building for the last couple of years. And I think you go back maybe 4 or 5 years to where they thought what we could be when they hosted the girls semi-state there. It was a lot of great excitement. They do a great job with their program.
Chris Siebert's Bulldogs, as we mentioned, 26-0. Bob mentioned the transfer. That's Caitlin Costner. Came over from Elkhart Central, had to play on the JV for the regular season. She scored 20 in her tournament opener in their sectional. Then Jordan Smith back from the injury. And don't forget about the NIC MVP, Trinity Clinton. Not holding a telethon for Penn. Nobody feeling sorry for him at all. This should be a great matchup in the opener at LaPorte. Now there's another rematch game in 3A at Jimtown. This will be the opener there too, where Marion takes on Northwood. We saw the Knights in the sectional semifinals last week, and they would go on to beat Washington. They've won 11 in a row, and in this sectional, Bob, they had a chance to avenge a regular season loss to St. Joe, which they did, and a regular season loss to Washington. Now the shoe's on the other foot as they face Northwood, a team they beat in the regular season.
Well, one of the things that we got to go back and look at is a couple of weeks ago, we thought the winner of that John Glenn sectional would roll maybe into the semi-state. Oh, wait a minute, Northwood got something to say. Oh, wait a minute, might be a little noise coming from a little further south at Knox.
Yeah.
They've got good basketball teams as well. Nevaeh Foster has been outstanding for Marion, just a freshman, but she's the, even though she's very talented, she's gotten better as the season goes along. And Heimlich's been a big factor inside for them. And yet last week when Washington wanted to put the pressure on Foster, they were able to get a top performance and win the sectional.
Well, Mackenzie Hudgen, another good guard as well. Now, if you're looking at Northwood, your eyes immediately go to their bigs, Kate Ruley, Maddie Payne. My question is, can Miller and Minnick, the M&Ms at the guards, come up with a big game? So this should be a fun one to watch. And as Bob mentioned, the winner more than likely faces Knox in the championship game. Neil Minnick's Redskins play Lighthouse CPA, and they'll be rolling into the championship with 25 wins, so not something to be taken lightly. Okay, let's start off the boys' weekend now. Big game in the Northeast Corner Conference. They're playing for first place, Westview and Prairie Heights. Now, Westview is a team that we saw play against Fairfield, and of course you talk about Charlie Yoder and his ability to get triple doubles, and he's only 36 points away from 2,000. But Prairie Heights beat Westview by 1 in the Northeast Corner Conference tournament.
Prairie View is a good team, and I think that they have a lot of respect from the people at Westview. I think one of the things about Westview is they have season goals they set out before the season starts. One of them is to win the conference, and this will be a big game, and being at Prairie Heights, that could be the difference.
Well, and Prairie Heights has some size, too. I mean, Mike Perkins, Brandon Chrisleep, so this is going to be a tough opponent for Westview to go on the road and beat. And combating size is not something that this Westview team is really built to do. We'll see how they fare on Friday night. We also want to look at the Hoosier North Conference. LaVille sits atop that league right now. We saw Michael Edison's team earlier in the year, and they've gotten hot. They've won 5 in a row. Now they have to go down to the Trojan Trench and take on Jason Groves and Triton. Of course, when you talk about LaVille, that senior guard, Connor Wazorek, leads the way, and then they've got some other cast of characters as well, the Flying Dove right there, and Bobby B. Good.
Yeah, they've got a good player. Matter of fact, he's a very good player. This is a good team unit. This is one that Mike was very patient with. Early in the season, they've come along. One of the things about Triton is they have a great tradition of winning. They have an excellent coach. They have Not a great team this year, but boy, when you get to this point of the season, you could make your season by winning this section of this game, regular season game, against a good team like LaVille.
Trojans coach Jason Groves, 250 wins. They're 9-7 coming into this, but they did lose to LaVille by 19 in the Bi-County tournament. A couple of teams that we've seen in person recently go head-to-head in the NIC as St. Joe takes on John Glenn. Now, St. Joe, you and I were both attending the game on Tuesday night when they lost to Adams. Of course, they've got J.R. Konechny. Everybody wants to talk about him, but my goodness, Will Terry was a man the other night against the Eagles. 23 points and 16 rebounds.
Did a great job getting up and down the floor. He played some really good defense. I think St. Joe's problem is themselves. They've got a lot of offensive weapons. They can really score the basketball, but it's the mistakes that they make, the turnovers. They're down 18-2 in this game to John Adams, mostly because of mistakes and turnovers they made early. They overcame that. I think Mark Johnson's doing a good job. There are some young guys that have key roles on this team for St. Joe, but potentially they're very good. I think one of the things about John Glenn is going into this game, the Falcons are playing at the Prairie, which they always enjoy doing, and they get a good crowd down there every time they play, but they are going to have to be very, very focused on defense and forcing those turnovers, taking advantage of them. If the score is over 50, this is one of those classic matchups where you say if it's over 50, it favors St. Joe. If it's 50 or thereabouts, John Glenn's got a shot.
I like Glenn's personnel, particularly the freshmen Bryson Hanna and Rob Porter, who was the Bi-County MVP. Carter Young having a nice season, but I agree with you, partner. This is a contrast in tempos and something we'll talk about with one of our games a little bit later in a similar style of matchup. Also in the NIC on Friday night, Riley and New Prairie, two teams coming off losses on Tuesday. Riley had another great game from Blake Wesley. He scored 35, but Andre Owen's team just doesn't seem to be able to get over the hump this year. They've got to find somebody consistent to partner with.
Why are they not playing Jennings more? Oh, he graduated. You know, they could use that kind of a guy, a glue guy on defense, a penetrator on offense, and a guy who can dish the ball. You know, they are getting a great performance from Wesley each and every night. He's a quality player, but they need more than that, and they need that chemistry that they've had in the past. I think, you know, New Prairie is one of those teams that also is trying to develop their chemistry, but again, the talent that they have is still a year away. I think they got a good coach, Mike Bauer. He's doing a good job, and I think they're going to be better as they go along, and I'd be really afraid for what New Prairie could be in the next 2-3 years. I
really was impressed with this young man, Brandon Flagg, when we saw them against John Glenn. And, of course, Chase Ketterer, a tremendous leader. I think focus might be a problem at New Prairie this week, too, with the departure of Russ Radke from the football program. There might be a lot of distractions in the air for the Cougars right now. They got to focus on a very good opponent in Riley on Friday night. Then the game we'll have for you on Friday night, live on YouTube and Facebook at 7:45 and on TV 46 at 11. The battle for second place in the Northern Lakes Conference. Northridge already has first rounded up, but here's Elkhart Memorial, who we saw in our first game of the season with guys like Darjon Lewis and Skinny Rogers and Braxton Miller taking on Northwood. Kyle Sears' team likes to get up and down the floor.
They do, and I think it's going to be exciting to see where they've come from at the beginning of the season, because they have had that wide open style. They love to get up and down the floor. They love to block shots and have defense turn into offense for them. And I think when you look at what Northwood is going to offer them, a pretty stoic approach, and Aaron Wolf's done a terrific job there. And I just think that this is a matchup of two very good coaches, two very good programs, and should be fun at the pit. We always enjoy going there.
Northwood has to be one of the quietest 13-4s that we've seen in a while. They've got Trent Edwards there, number 10, who's scoring about 17 points a game. Then nobody else really in double figures, but they find different people to help out. We were impressed with Jamar Jackson, the sophomore, and he's had a nice second half. And then you've got the shooting of guys like that guy, Ben Benson or Brock Flickinger. So again, another team where if they find that second guy on a given night, awfully tough to beat. We'll see if they can find him on Friday night against the Crimson Chargers. And that's a look at the high school basketball weekend. We encourage you to get out to games. Then, of course, see us Friday night at 11 and Saturday morning at 9. For Bob Nagel, Chuck Freeby, thanks for joining us here on social media.